So what he was saying is that really don't fear to negotiate. You may have fear, but don't negotiate out of fear. Don't fear to negotiate with all the people that you're going to run into, and be ready to use this material you're going to get today, even if you've had all kinds of experiences in the past. You are in for a treat. What we're going to be exploring today in this energy immersion event that you're in is something you're going to be able to use for the rest of your life and only expand in your usage of it, and the joy of being able to be successful in relationships. So we're going to talk about relationships, but the relationship topic is so big that this is a segment that you need to be able to work on and be successful in. It's a big segment, and there's a couple other big segments that will follow this event today. And there actually has been some that preceded this. But for right now, much of the material I'm going to tell you, it comes from this collected results that from my being in my office for 20 years and collecting information from all types of clients and patients about every aspect of relationship and their own lives. So you're going to be receiving the energy the whole time you're here, while you're taking notes, or while you're drinking tea, or you're eating. Just make sure your cell phone is off. So check your cell phone now, and we'll get started. Now, what kind of relationships are we talking about? For you, you pick, because this is going to apply to business relationships, family relationships, personal relationships, colleague, you and your boss. What you'll need to know is that before we get started on this whole topic, that there will be some of you who might remember feeling this way. You don't feel this way now, but maybe in the past, you might have felt about relationships that they're sort of dicey, and I've had a lot of, so-so experiences. So I have like data here that we can read to you from different people who've reported to me that they really don't even want to talk about relationships because it's been such a downer experience for them that they've just sort of withdrawn, and they relate to people superficially now. Do you know anybody like that? Have you ever done that? We just got in a mood like, oh, well, everybody's sort of this way, and you just relate to them so that what? Well, when I ask people in my office so that what, they say, well, so that I don't get burned or so I don't get hurt. You are not going to get burned or hurt ever again after today. Does that sound good? So you're not going to have to do that withdrawal experience. You're not going to have to do that, oh gosh, there isn't a solution. No, you're going to know the solutions. So those of you who know anybody who ever did that in their relationship, where they withdrew and became, sort of, I can't be anything but superficial with people, because any deeper causes problems, you're going to let that all go, and you're going to have a chance to really connect. Now, when you connect, one of the things that I've told you about previously is that it's really important that you have a list of certain things that you're going to connect with. So those of you who've been in this course, as we've gone along, you've made your lists, and some of you who are brand new, it's fine. You should take out a pen and some paper now. If you don't have a pen and paper, then get one immediately, and write down the top of each page something under the word safe. What would be your criteria for safety? Another page, what would be your criteria for friendship? And then the third, what would be your criteria for love? And then fill out the rest of that at home and with your facilitator. Now, those of you who've already got your list filled out, you should have it with you at all times. Why? Because you're going to be meeting people at all times in your life. There isn't a time you aren't going to be meeting people. Therefore, you always want to be knowing what level you want to create a relationship with, because there's so many great people out there that you're missing because you don't immediately know how to connect powerfully and then really go forward in that relationship and have something happen. So has everybody got at least 3 pages in front of you? One that says your list for safety, and then friendship. Okay, so here it is. These are just some reminders, because I need you to take this forward all the time. So I want you never to forget your list. Always carry it with you on your phone, on your computer, but you need to have this on paper. Some things that people can be, they can either be coherent, if you to be safe, they can't be shifty-eyed. This came from Bobby. As you remember, this was his list, and he was kind enough to share it with us. They cannot be hard to understand. They can't be opportunistic. These are things that he thought of. And you'll add more and more every day so that you make sure that the people you're around, you can make a great success with them, because you never want to really go in an environment when someone's not safe, right? That's sort of the first criterion, a man or woman, and it can be safe in terms of, you've heard the story getting in a card game you never belonged in the first place? That wasn't safe. There's certain places you really, in life, that are for you and other places aren't. Okay, the next list, for trust, let's see this. Calm, even-tempered, honest with me. I said the word friend, but for me, friend and trust are how you find a friend, is you find someone you can trust. So calm and even-tempered, honest with me, good recommendations from other people, punctual, answers questions completely. What's it take for you to trust somebody? You need to write that down and make sure you've got that on your list for yourself. You want to have your list, what it takes for you to trust someone, and then monitor that and see if they still come out trustworthy. And if they don't, then you're going to be asking them some questions, because to go further in a relationship with them can be a problem. Okay? And then the next list, and you're going to add your own. What about if you find someone you want to extend love to? Everybody would like to be in love with people, right? Because as you extend love and receive love, it's one of the greatest experiences in life, correct? So remember, those people at the beginning who only want to have superficial relationships have all stopped that thinking, and they've let that go, and they're now here working towards having great new relationships with all kinds of people in this world. And so you're now going to find people that you may even fall in love with, but who do you want to extend love to? Well, Bobby's list was people, I'm going to extend love to people that are loyal, they're faithful, they're supportive. I don't want to be in love with somebody who's just going to crash and burn the next day, so they got to maintain their own health. I really fall in love with capable people and independent people, okay? So you've got those three lists. You're going to need those as you go through this course today, okay? Because what this course is about is you being able to connect to your soulmate in every single area of your life. In business, wouldn't you like to be in business with someone who was your soulmate for business? And wouldn't you like to have friends that were your soulmates that you could grow and develop with, and it doesn't matter when you guys connected, whether it was in the middle of the year or not till 6 months later, it was like right there and you were there with them because they fit all these criteria and you could feel it in your soul. And then, even larger, to be able to be in love with other people. And that's really the way your life will expand using this energy from here on out. Now, we're going to get into this fascinating thing of how is it possible that you could ever be like this guy who many of you are too young to know him or ever heard about him, but some of you will know him by the quote. And then you will say, I can't believe he said that, okay? And he said this about relationships. He said, you get to guess the name, don't shout it out yet if you know. He says, I never met a person I didn't like. Who said it? Will Rogers. And, some people hear that and they go, are you kidding me? What are you talking about? Or what people like to say in this day and age, really? Is that really going to, who are you hanging around with, Will? Well, after today, you're going to find out how he was able to say that. Is that interesting to you? You're going to find out how he was able to actually have great relationships with all kinds of people, no matter who they were. And the way he was able to do it is using the technique that connecting to the energy, he was able to do categorization, and which we're going to go into. And he was able to use the Energy for Success template. The Energy for Success template is someplace where you can actually map out all your relationships really quickly to find out what you want to do with them. And this is, if you want to change a failure to success, we have this on the website, on the internet. You can pick this up and download as many times as you want. But it just starts on the left side where you maybe have a relationship where there's a deficiency or a failure, and you just fill it in. We'll show you real ones later that people have sent in. But then after you've got the problem, like I don't get along with my boss or something, or I don't get along with my so-and-so, or at work, I can't stand the people, whatever. What's the reverse or deficiency the person would have to be? That is, how would they act? He, she, or they, or I would be a certain way. I'll just write them down, the word being. How would they be being? Okay? And we'll go into ways of being in today. And then what are the actions that a person who is being that way? Obviously, you'd want to be someone who's not feeling that you're a failure. You'd want to be someone who's successful. I'm successful with my boss. That would be one way of being. What are the actions that a person who's being that way? Any person would be to continue, maintain, develop, and represent this quality in the world, given your particular circumstances. And a person would do what? And today we'll find out how you'll know what to do and how far to carry it, because you're going to be able to actually recognize, oh, this is a person who's in category 1. This is a person in category 2. This person fits my list and he's in category 2. I know exactly what to do with this kind of person. I can have fun with them. Okay, so this is the blank and we'll fill it in later. So the first thing you have to learn in every single advancement towards the Will Rogers quote is that you have to play on your side. You are the creator of all your relationships. You're the one who put yourself out there with these people. So you want to make sure that it works. You want your time to be well spent and you want to have a good result. You're going to have to do one thing. And that is that it has to be win-win. So write that down. Win-win, which means that what? If win-win means in relationships means that you, the person on the other side gets an ice cream cone, okay? But it means that you also get one too. So that's win-win. Now, did I say that the person over there gets an ice cream cone now and you get a promise for an ice cream cone in a month? Maybe it'll come to you. That's not win-win, is it? So you can see right away, if you have this criteria, win-win, that you'd better set it up right from the beginning with your friend. And this is what Will was able to do. Set up your relationship so that they're always win-win. So if the other person gets an ice cream cone, you're going to get one too, and they'll be at the same time frame, and they'll be at the same results for both of you. So people immediately, when I tell them about this win-win, they go, well, I understand the template for success, and I understand I've got my list now, but you don't understand. There's people at work. There's people I'm related to in my family. There's colleagues. There's someone I'm actually intimate with. They're not easy to deal with. Every day we have a blow-up that I don't like, or we have arguments that go on, and I really don't know what to do other than just go out in the garage and be away from them for a while and then finally come back and hopefully that the smoke has cleared and we can start relating again. So what today's about is being able to relate to people and have it be great relationships even if they're being somewhat difficult. Are you interested? Yes. Yeah, and you are going to meet those people. Have you noticed? You've been alive long enough that there are people on the playground that won't be so easy to play with. There'll be people at work that won't want to do what you want to do. So what can you do about that? Well, the first thing, like we talked about before, is you could withdraw. Now, what does a person look like who's classically has already decided that, you know, there's difficult people at work, there's difficult people at home, I don't know what it's going to be like, so they try to protect themselves, right? So how can you recognize one of those people? Well, they sort of look like, and they listen like this. Like avoiding the arrow going over their head, being ready to duck, and also looking askance at you at like whatever you say, you know, may be valid, but I don't know if I'm going to trust you, and we'll see. They're a we'll see kind of person. And there's nothing wrong with that, except you don't get any results with people. You don't have a lot of great people supporting you and taking you forward to be not only your friend, but your business partner, giving you all kinds of great either financial support or physical support, because you're always, you know, withdrawing. You're back here like, okay, you know, maybe you're gonna show up, maybe you're not. So you don't want to fall into that state where you're withdrawing people and be able to actually get connected to them. Now, I've had a number of people come in my office like that, and of course the answer is, why do you do that? Why are you taking that approach? And he says, well, you know, I really don't want to get injured. I want to get hurt. I want to protect myself. I go, that isn't protecting yourself. That isn't working well. You don't have to tell me. I'm sure it's not working well because you're missing all these people. And then I say, isn't that true? And they go, yeah, that's why I'm here. It's not, whatever I'm doing is not working. I says, well, that's what you're doing, and this is what is going to bring you the soulmates in every area of your life that you're going to have this wonderful experience that you're a person that can benefit from every person around you, every kind of person. Doesn't matter who they are. So people who come in with this askance view and they go, you know, that sounds good, Doc, but I've been hurt before. I've been hurt by a lot of people. I've been hurt by my spouse. I've been hurt by my parent. You know, I got a lot of hurts, and therefore, I don't know if I'm really willing to get out of this endangered state. So I said, you know, you're prejudiced then. They go, I'm not prejudiced. I'm just being honest. I know you're prejudiced. You're prejudging the environment. What does to prejudge mean? It means to make a hasty opinion about anything without looking at all the facts. Oh my gosh, how are you gonna look at all the facts when you're walking around like this? You're not interested, you're buffering the thing. You actually need to be in the energy, in the flow, 360 perception, doing your exercise so you can catch the facts as they're coming down. And this is the successful thing that all the people who have ever come to me, and there's been, as you know now, with all the news and everything, a lot of people who have made tremendous success. Some people with 7-figure lives, some people with 8-figure lives, using this energy. And the way they've done it is taking this energy and actually connecting to a lot of people who they could work together, because these other people are actually gloriously filled with great ideas that you can connect with. So you can't be prejudging them. You want to be able to recognize them. Do you get it? If you're prejudging, you're not getting the facts on what that person is. And if you're prejudging, a lot of people, you know, they tell me, oh, I go around being angry, or I feel like people are going to lie to me, or, you know, I just don't want to have to deal with it. But what's really going on is you're having an assessment of people prior to even meeting them. And that, you got to stop doing that. You got to go into judging people by careful, definition of judging is careful consideration of the facts. So I can't tell you how many people have prejudged and gotten into a trouble. No, I'm not kidding, because you can prejudge both ways. You can prejudge a guy and say, this is the greatest guy to run my company, and, you know, it goes into the dirt. Or you could prejudge that this person I marry is going to be wonderful because she looks like this person I watched when I was a kid on TV, and how does that turn out? So you're not gathering the facts. Your guys have got to learn to gather the facts, and what we're going to go today is you're going to leave that fallback position of protecting yourself and being like this all the time, and actually using this material here in a very rapid fashion so that you're going to be experts at actually being someone who can come in like Michael Jordan or any other great basketball player and work your way through all kinds of people and find just the right people for you and put the ball in the basket with them. And what happens when you become a good judge, and these criteria are going to help you, is you get this freedom feeling like, wow, there's a lot of people out here that I want to relate to. Let me find out what's going on here. So those people have taken the general approach. Those people have been prejudged. You can see you don't want to do that. You want to be open so that you can discover. You want to be able to judge correctly. And then you're not going to end up with these people where, because you just went in a hasty way and connected with them, you ended up maybe, you know, in somewhat of a snafu. You got to use this strategy that we're going to go through today, which is a strategy of categorization. And in the strategy of categorization, you're actually going to see that there's all these types of people that fall into categories that you can quickly move from category along with your lists into exactly what kind of person they are. And then you won't have any problem finding what kind of relationship you want to connect with. So the first part of categorization is that you have to know, where is this person coming from? Okay, and we're going to get into how to check that out on everybody. Where are they coming from? So are they coming from where you're coming from? Are they coming from being open-hearted, caring, sensitive, honest, well-meaning, high integrity, win-win kind of human being? Have you found people that don't fit that in your life? Yeah, as one guy said, most people are like that. I said, it's not true. I said, most of the people that you run into are that way because you're missing the opportunity to be with all the other people. And he says, well, I don't know if that's true. I said, are you busy handling most of your life with relationships that don't work and things that don't work? He said, yeah. I said, you're taking the smallest percentage of the people on the earth and focusing on them. It's the old 80-20 rule. You know, this small 20% takes up 80% of your time because you're not aware that if you could take your eyes off of those people, there's another way to relate. And once you relate in a way that you still get to be win-win, then you're going to be able to recognize this huge other segment. So are you willing, starting today, to recognize that it's actually possible that you've been missing this huge 80% that's out there? I know you're good people, but is it just possible that you've been missing this 80% because you've been so focused on this 20% that's causing you all these problems, and that you've made all your prejudgments from them forever? What if there's this whole group of people that you didn't see, you missed them? Okay, so the first thing you're going to have to do, which is very clear, we started it out, is you have to say, okay, is a person safe? Are they maybe not safe? Or, I don't think they're safe. So if the person's not safe, you shouldn't pursue any further the relationship. That's not prejudging, that's making sure that you're not focusing on this 20%. And if a person's partially unsafe, then you're gonna have to collect more data, so you're gonna have to be awake. And if they are safe, then you can proceed further with all the material we're gonna give you today. But what if you haven't been able to determine whether someone's safe, and you want to really have them be an employee, or you really want them to have to be a colleague, or you really want to have to be a business partner? Do you think that's going to work out? No, not really. You need to find out what that person's background is, and how many people have they worked with that they've really gotten stellar recommendations from, that you can rely on them. And then they're safe, and then you can get great results. So, youth, this sounds like a guy thing, doesn't it? Like maybe this only happens with men, but it's not. It's true for men and women, It's both. So don't think that this is only guys getting hurt in business or women getting hurt in business. We had one gentleman who we were talking about last night, who actually, we told him since day one, be careful with this person you want to marry. And he was saying, no, this is the greatest thing in the world. This is absolutely the greatest thing. We said, why do you say that? She's not safe. He said, how could a woman be unsafe? What could happen? He said, nothing could happen. He's a very strong fellow and very successful and very intelligent in other areas. So they got married, and fast forward, first year things got really, really bad. Second year she went off to another country with the baby. Third year they're finally, on different parts of the world, and he's trying to file, okay? But her life was not anywhere close to thinking about whether he was going to be some person who needed to be included in it, or that she fit those 3 pages I told you that you want to use to visit with a person and see if they actually are safe. Remember? First, with trust, what do you have to have for safety? And so you have to fill those out. And if you haven't filled them out, you must do that today. Otherwise, you're going to be exhausted by that 20% that's going to pull you down. But I want you to get that there are both kinds of people, and when you get to the kind of people that are really, really difficult, it's not going to be hard, because you're going to be able to use this categorization program that I'm going to show you, and you're going to be able to actually be successful with difficult people. You're going to be successful with partially difficult, and then you're going to be very successful actually with people that are totally win-win like you. One of the things you want to do with people who do present you with some kind of resistance or problem is, do you have that quote? We're going to show you a quote of someone who said, really with people, you just can't just give up on people, and you can't just come forward and think that you can't negotiate with them. You really got to accept everybody, even someone who may be on the fringe. You got to start with that. Let's begin anew with everybody. Let's find new people to begin with. Let's try anew with any person we can. We don't have to judge just by that 20% that we ran into. You got to remember, on both sides of a relationship, civility is not a sign of weakness. So you can be civil to these people. You don't have to be guarded and upset. Okay, next. And he also said, and sincerity is always a subject of proof. So if someone says, I'm really genuine, really sincere, you can count on me, can we have a little proof on that? Can I get some data on that? And then what's the next thing this gentleman says? He says, let us never negotiate out of fear. In other words, don't come into not only personal relationship, but a business relationship, a friend relationship, a work relationship, and try to press something forward where you're negotiating out of fear. But what's the next thing? Let us never fear to negotiate. Don't ever stop the contact with another person and working through the data, because collecting the data and finding out where you can position yourself, and we're going to go very significantly into negotiating in the next session, but in this session you need to get this. Never fear to negotiate. Let both sides explore what problems unite us. So you want to look for people that you have things that can unite out of the problem. Like this gentleman was explaining about his business, that he was united with all these other people after he was using the energy to go forward. So go next. Instead of belaboring those problems, okay? So explore what problems unite us instead of belaboring those problems, okay? With an extra N. So the point is, are you going to focus on the problems? Or are you going to focus on which ones unite us? Go ahead. With the problems which divide us, go ahead. And that's the guy. JFK said that. So what he was saying is that really don't fear to negotiate. You may have fear, but don't negotiate out of fear. Don't fear to negotiate with all the people that you're going to run into, and be ready to use this material you're going to get today, even if you've had all kinds of experiences in the past, because once you get to be able to categorize, which is going to be so important, you're actually going to be able to connect even earlier with people and find open relationships with everybody. But what if you don't want to do that? What if you don't want to learn how to categorize? What if you'd rather go into every relationship in this sort of dreamy state? That, you know, I'm in love, I care about this person, it's all good, I'm feeling it wonderful. How's that going? Has that worked out very well? Is that a good criteria? No. So you have to make out your list. You have to have that list. That's what you refer to, not just the dreamy state. The list is this person, you know, these criteria. Is this someone I want to trust? So they have all the criteria that make me feeling I could trust this person. Does have all the criteria of a person I would want to extend love, after you see with the criteria for safety. And you may explore other things that are going to make you successful with them. Now, can you meet people who are deceiving? Yeah. So do they know they're being deceiving, or is it an unconscious thing? Sometimes it's totally unconscious. They've just been that way because their parents are that way and their grandparents that way. And so they've learned how to be deceiving and they live their life that way. That's why categorization is going to get past all that. So what you want to do is find out those people that you can move your relationship forward with. And are you interested now in this categorization? Should I show it to you? Good. All right. So we're going to continue. We'll have questions at the break. So right now we're going to do, what is the first category? So in previous lectures we talked about, many people in the world who you're going to meet who are great, like a lot of people in here. There's many people you're going to meet who are all win-win. Okay? Remember, you want to start your relationship win-win. So you want to meet all this large group of people who are win-win. That's your first category. They want what you want. What qualities do you want in people? You want integrity, like Bobby was writing down. You want honesty. You want fairness. Those people make up the largest category. So this is category 1 here. So category 1's huge. It's most people in the world. You will see them more and more after today. This is a list of some of the qualities that go with category 1, but we will go through them more into the lecture. But they're going to people you meet in the energy immersion courses. They have appreciation for their life and your life, their fairness. These are ways of being. They have all the qualities you need in order to feel safe, all of them, okay? So this is your largest category. Now, they're the easiest to recognize because they're like you, wonderful people who are able to be connected and don't want to give up on each other and want to go further. Now, as you go through your day, there's going to be people that, they may not be in category 1. There's people that choose to be in other categories. So you want to find out which category people are in so that you can be successful. But your easiest people to be successful with are going to be category 1. And that's the majority if you start looking for them. Now, that person will complement you, they will grow with you, they will connect on all your criteria on ways of being. But there's other ways of being in a category. You could be possibly a category 2 person. And there's plenty of people in category 2, it's not as much, but this is category 2. And then we'll go over this deeper. So in category 2, you have these criteria. They have many of the qualities, stop right here, that you'll enjoy connecting with. So they have all the categories that that you're looking for in a person. They have all these qualities that you really like in a people, except there's some exceptions. So you enjoy being with these people. And the next thing, and there are even people that you can respect. It's very important that you can respect these people. Next. But at times, they have qualities which are win-lose. So write that down. If you want to recognize a category 2 person, you should write that down now, that they are win-lose at times. And what's win-lose mean? Yeah, you don't get an ice cream cone. Somehow they don't show up at the place they said they were going to be. And there's people that you love, that you've met in your life, they're actually valuable people that at times, they let you down. But other times, they're fine. You can respect them. Remember, everybody's passed the safety test to even be worth categorizing. So go on. Therefore, these people are people you can relate to and enjoy, but you have to manage them with agreements. So you want to write that down. Category 2 people, you have to manage them with agreements. They're still wonderful people. You love them. You can respect them. You can work with them. What else? So you can enjoy them, you can manage them, and then you can keep it win-win. And it isn't that difficult. You just have to manage it. And we'll talk about how you relate to those people. Now, there's just a little caveat here that you should check. There's a person here in the audience that we may have, or you may have forgotten, who's actually on this list also that needs to be categorized. Because most people, when I interview them and show them the categories 1, 2, and 3, they tell me, they say, when I say, well, what kind of category are you? And they say, oh, I'm category 1. I'm win-win all the time. I'm high integrity. I'm the kind of person who never lets anybody down. I keep all my agreements. If I'm not going to make it to someplace, I call in ahead and take care of people. And then when we look at their life and their experience, I say, well, you've tried to be that way. You would like to be that way, but possibly you sometimes merge into category 2, where you do, cause a win-lose reaction, and you need to be able to counter that, and that's okay. You need to fix it, but you shouldn't go around thinking that, the reason this relationship with this guy at work is not working is because he is just too difficult to be with. He's too much into his own head, and I can't relate to him even though I'm a category 1 person. You might also want to say, well, let's see. This person, I'm not supposed to prejudge him. I'm supposed to see what kind of facts are available. And so even though this person is critical, let me see if I can fit him into other categories before I just cast him off. Because if you're a person who does prejudging of everybody, you're not going to get to meet the good people. So you actually have to find what are the criteria and use this technique so that you can look out here at not only how they're acting in the relationship, but how you're acting in the relationship. Are you able to actually, at the same time, maintain your side of the agreements? You may have started out, everybody's all together and friendly and your partners, and then after 3 or 4 months, the guy is just not returning phone calls, he doesn't keep his agreements, and so then you're going to say, well, did this guy all of a sudden disappear, or what happened? What happened to our relationship? Did I judge him wrong? No, he could be, filtering into a category 2 person, and if he becomes for a temporary time to category 2, you still can change a win-win. You just have to manage them. We'll go into how to manage that. But your thoughts and feelings and how you're going to react with people is all going to be determined first by making sure that there's a good fit between those 3 charts that we made up for friend. And then you have to see that, well, what is this person like if they're going to be a category 1 or a category 2? So a category 2 person is so easy to recognize also. Say, have you ever lent anything to anybody? Your jeans or your corduroys or your clothes or your lawnmower or your books or anything? Your house? Have you ever lent something and then when you got it back, it wasn't in the same condition that you gave it to them in. So that would be a win-lose, you see. So it's not that they're malicious, it's just they're unconscious about the fact that when they do arrangements with you, it doesn't turn out exactly the way you want it to. So you just have to manage people like that and make sure that they come through by having criteria on how they're going to come through. Okay, so these people are everywhere, you're going to find them, and you can have a winner relationship with them. You may just have to gather information about them before you proceed any further. But just remember, they're not consciously trying to let you down. They're not consciously trying to make you unhappy. It's just that's just the way they happen to relate to life. And they have also lots of great qualities, and as long as you're clear that you need to manage category 2 people, you're going to be successful. So I had this wonderful lady who we all knew, and she was adorable, really attractive, adorable. She was a decorator. And she came in, and we were thrilled with her. But if she said we were going to have a meeting at 2 o'clock and we were going to go through what we're going to do with the wallpaper, or what we're going to do with the rug, or something like that, it would happen maybe at 4. And if it was supposed to be on certain type of wallpaper, she would change it to something else. She included something else. So you can see people can like not have a fit with you, even though it doesn't really connect, and become a category 2 because they're letting you down as far as agreements. So you have to manage those people. What's another way you can manage someone? Well, say you have a good friend and you want to go to the movies with them, okay? So remember, category 2 people you want to have definite agreements with that you monitor. Yeah, it's a little bit of work to work with category 2 people, but they're still fine, and you can work with them, have a great time. You just have to monitor them. So Betty decided that she was going to have a relationship, okay? And she says, I love my friend, but she's category 2. I cannot trust her to keep her agreements to go to the movies. So Betty, don't fill this in yet. Betty decides she wants to go to the movies with her friend. And her friend is adorable, with it, great conversationalist, really someone she respects. She likes going with her, but her friend happens to be category 2. It's not anything bad, it's just some way that you need to learn to relate to them so it can maintain what? Win-win. You want to always use that as your criteria, how you're going to manage your relationships. So what does Betty do? She says, well, I love my friend and I can't trust her. I'm getting irritated about that. So what's the reverse of this way of being? How could I be so that I could really connect to this friend? So what's the reverse of that? So you just pick something that's the reverse or opposite. I'm a person who expertly manages all categories of relationships. Betty, every kind. I'm going to manage them correctly. And so what would a person do who succeeded in that way of being, all right? So a person who succeeded in that way of being, she'd say, well, I know my friend's completely out of reality on keeping her agreements, but I still like her. I've known her forever, and she's great. I still want to go to the movies with her. So what's the second thing you do? I cannot get out of managing a relationship in order to keep the relationship on a win-win basis. You can never get out of managing category 2 relationships because those people are adorable, you love them, you can work with them, get great results, you can create scientific breakthroughs with them, but you have to manage what's going to happen. So what do you do? What does Betty do? What's number 3? Do we have a number 3? No? Then you fill in number 3. What do you do? Well, here's what Betty did. Betty decided, okay, I'm going to go to the movies with my friend. And it's a real story. And she decided to go to the movies with her friend, but she says, but she's category 2. What am I going to do? I want to be with her. I like her. I respect her. I can't wait to talk. And I want to go for coffee afterwards with her. So Betty called her friend and said, listen, I'm going to meet you at the movies. We'll go separate cars, because if you drive, there's no chance of us getting there on time, given the way that you usually are. But, and she says, oh, no, I'll be on time this time. I got it. I hope you are. I'm going to manage that. She says, but if you get there, I'll already be in the movie. And if you get there on time, just look for me. I'll be in the back rows. But I'll wait for you out front until the very beginning of the movie. And if you're not there, I'll just be inside in the first 3 rows. You can find me. And then when you find me, then we can sit through the movie together. And then we can go to coffee. So what happens with her friend? Her friend shows up usually on time or not on time? Not on time. She's a managed category 2. It's not an upset for you. It actually gets to be funny after a while. So Betty gets to meet her friend, says, here's your seat. I already got you popcorn. The other lady gets to see the movie with her, and then you get to go out for coffee afterwards. This all came from a client. And I said, so what did you all talk about? She said, we went out, had coffee, and we laughed about all the funny things that happened to my friend that kept her from coming to the movies on time. And the whole thing can become a joke. The whole thing can be something that keeps you closer together. With category 2 people, you can have problems, and as long as you manage in advance what you can start to recognize about them maintaining a win-win relationship, because you have to be conscious all the time to create a win-win relationship. You actually have to be in the energy, and you guys being in the energy are going to be able to take it forward and create win-win, just like Betty was able to do. So now, the last time I checked, Betty actually still has this relationship going on, and she has other people like this who she connects with and work with her, and she's clear that every time she meets somebody, she has to do this. She has to like determine, is this somebody who's just like gonna be win-win also? I mean, everybody has some friends that are win-win like you. You know, they always call you on your birthday, they always get you the right present, they always check to see how you are when you're sick. You know, they're just a friend in all different ways, and they're supporting for you, and they would never let you down, and if they were gonna be late, they would call you in advance. You've met people like this. Those are category 1s, and to get a category 2 to fit in that area, you have to manage that. So you have to find out what it is that is gonna be necessary so that you get to experience a workable relationship, and you both get to have coffee, both get to go to the movies. It just takes a little bit of management. So remember, these people out here who you meet, it doesn't matter if you meet them and they, you know, they're fine, and you think they're fine, and you then want to be in that dreamy state that it's okay to be with them. It's not always going to be that way. You may have to manage them because you're the one who creates the win-win relationship. Now, you might say, well, you know, I don't know how this management, do I have to take a management course? I have to get an MBA to be able to manage them? I mean, what are you talking about management? You know how to do the management. I'll give you an example. Maybe when you were a teenager, maybe, and you hear this yell from the other side of the house. We'll say it's a guy. Okay, son, dinner is ready, she yells, mom, right? I'll be there, mom, 15 minutes. I mean, I'll be down there, don't worry. 15 minutes go by, what happens? Is he downstairs? No, still playing or talking to his friend, or he's doing something that he wants to do. So she yells again, a little louder. See, she's managing. Son, your dinner's getting cold. You better get down here quick. And she yells even louder, you know. And he goes, yeah, mom, I heard you. I'm definitely coming down. You can count on me. He's category 2 for sure. So he says, you can count on me. I'm going to be there. As soon as I finish this thing, I'll be there. I'm just reading this last chapter in this exciting book. I'll be there. 15 minutes goes by. Does he go to dinner? Is he down there? No. Management technique improves on the spot with no training, no MBA. She says, son, your dinner's going in the garbage unless you go down here right now and eat it. I'm trashing your dinner. You'll have no dinner. Mom, I'll be right there. See? So who is your largest category 2 people? Teenagers and kids. Have you ever seen a little kid? There was one here before. Little kids, do they like to keep agreements on a win-win basis? Or it's like, I want all the ice cream, I want all the cake, don't give any cake to me. You know, it's sort of funny, right? So you learn about dealing with category 2 people if you raise any kids. But the point is that they're adorable, you love them, and you can continue to be successful with them. You don't have to be upset that, oh, what are you going to do? But you have to manage it. Otherwise, it won't be a fun, successful relationship. And category 2 people, you can always recognize that, you know, you can still get to go to the movie and you can laugh about the fact that they'll have lots of excuses, okay? And you don't have to go be triggered. What does triggered mean? Well, you know, this is a category 2 person and she shouldn't let me down. You know, she doesn't respect me. Time is money. My time is as important as your time. You are not a timekeeping person. Therefore, you can't be my friend. I don't want to be with you. You'll lose a lot of category 2 people that could be your friends and could be valuable. Because why? Do you really want to go into you don't respect me? She doesn't even know about respect at that point. What are you going to do? Raise her from beginning and get her to teach her what that those is correlated in your system of respect? No, for her, she's just unconscious and has all kinds of relationships with being on time or keeping agreements, but you still can work with her. So don't get yourself all in a tiff. You know, this person let me down. This person didn't show up at the movies. I got screwed. You didn't get screwed. She's unconscious of what's going on. And so are you sometimes. And so you're just going to learn to manage it from the beginning, and then you'll have great times. You'll meet for coffee afterwards because you finally got her to sit down in the seat, and then you can go together and have a great time and hear about what's going on. But do you think it's useful, if you're going to maintain a win-win relationship, for every time the other person blows it, that you then become this, you don't have to do that. You just work the stages of management just like the mother did with the teenage son. You'll think of something that will be a management technique that doesn't have to do with you getting yourself into a complete hissy fit about whatever the discord is. So you've got to be careful. Just because somebody lets you down in what's going on during the day doesn't mean they're automatically thrown out from a category that you could relate to them in. You just have to be careful. Don't rush and prejudge. If you're willing to take this on and have people be, the way they are, but actually this huge category of category 1 and category 2 are sitting there waiting for you. The category 1s are easy, there's no stress with them. Category 2 people are wonderful people, could be brilliant people, but it takes a little bit of management. If you're willing to do that, you're going to have the most successful careers in everything that you do, because you're going to be one of those people like Will Rogers. You're going to be able to say, I never met a person that I couldn't like, because he knew how to find his way to relate to them. Now there's one more category that's called category 3. We're going to go into how category 3 relates to category 2 and category 1. But now it's important that we do a breathing exercise. So everybody take everything off your lap and just relax for a minute. So, we went up and down the scale of different kinds of relationships, and with your eyes closed now, you can just breathe easier and just recognize that this whole group of fun people to relate to, they take up a much less of your time. You can accumulate way more of those people as you accumulate category 1 and category 2 people. It's the unwillingness to really venture into how easy it is to manage with those other people that gets you a little bit awry, and we'll see how that is. So keep your eyes closed and take a deep breath and sit back in your chairs and relax. And we'll dim the lights. Now, one of the things that happens when you just sit and relax and begin an immersion into the energy breathing exercise is that you don't have to really be concerned about whatever thoughts come up. You don't have to be concerned about whether you're in the right place. You're in the right place. So take a deep breath. You're on your path. And the more you connect right now, the more your path's going to be visible to you. So take a deep breath down to your belly button. Let your stomach actually expand with the breath. And then breathe it back up. And then breathe down to your hips and breathe back up. And then what's so interesting is that it gets to be easier and easier just to let the chair hold you. You don't have to really work at this point. You can take time off and just have fun watching your breath go deeper and deeper, lower and lower into your body. And let yourself breathe down into your thighs. It takes a little longer, and it's okay to yawn and breathe back up. And then breathe down and watch that you can actually feel as the breath starts to expand in other areas of your chest, of your diaphragm, of your lower back, of your sides of your chest. You can feel those parts start to move also. And then what's really fun to catch is that while you were just examining your breathing, there's this panorama in front of you of this sort of screen where there's these dots and some colors appear on the fringe. And what's so interesting is that you can breathe and just sort to recognize that this screen that's out there in front of you, it really doesn't have an edge to it. It's kind of fascinating, this black screen that has these sort of dot movements and different color movements. It's like this screen expands all the way around in every direction that you can move your eyes with your eyes closed, that screen still appears. And it's sort of connected in a way that you can count on it, that it's really a place that you can venture into and really have a great time as you finally let go and just let yourself gently, ever so gently, just rise up. And you don't have to move your body at all. You can just have this sensation as you look up into that space up there, that you start to see these white clouds that appear that sort of have this fluffy, puffy look to them. And as you keep allowing yourself to float up, you can float up even further until finally you can actually touch those clouds and then keep floating up. It's safe to actually take these clouds and let them fluff around your neck and fluff around your back and fluff between your legs and over your toes. I mean, these clouds are sort of sparkly too. As you sort of poke one, you notice that it sort of then envelops your hand, and it's sort of possible to feel, but then it's so puffy, it really just sort of floats around you and covers different parts of your ears and has all these sparklets inside the clouds. And it's really fun just to lay out, like you're just laying out in a huge pool on a raft, and you're just enjoying these clouds as they do this wonderful suds effect over your back, your neck, your face, your ears. All around your body gets to be luxuriously covered with these clouds as you keep rising up. And as you start to rise up even further, you start to notice these blue shards of light come through the clouds. And as these shards come down, you start to notice one blue shard after another blue shard after another. And as you keep rising up, you start to notice, and it's okay to yawn, that as you're sort of laying back here on your raft, riding up through the clouds, that you've entered into this whole other wonderful space above the clouds. It's all blue. And you sort of sit up while you're in this blue to look around to see where it extends to. And interestingly enough, this blue extends all the way to the left as you look to the left, and extends all the way to the right as you look to the right. And if you look back behind you, it seems to go forever behind you. And you look forward, it goes way, way forward. It's so blue, but you can see through it at the same time. It's a very interesting phenomenon. And as you look in the distance, in this blue, you can start to see these sort of mountainous ranges that exist in the blue way in the back. And as you watch those mountains, they become a little more clear as you move towards them, as you're able to actually accelerate your space between where you are and the mountains are. As you get closer, you start to see that some of the mountains have like white snow on them, some of them have greenery, but then there's these huge mountains behind. They're very big, and you start to see sort of this plume of orange and yellow and red that comes up into the air. And then that plume falls back down. And then that plume of light appears into the air and shoots actually over in the canopy way above you in the blue. So you see this plume of orange and red and yellow. Each one of these plumes of color rolls through the sky above you, and it makes this wonderful shower, like there's some volcano there that keeps exploding and creating this wonderful light show of orange and yellow, red, and it's almost act like ribbons. So that these ribbons of color start to continue to, go through the total canopy that's above you and sort of reach down underneath you, under your raft, and create a web that can hold you like a hammock. And so you actually can be held even more securely with this orange and yellow and red ribbons that connect each other and crisscross and create this wonderful, safe place to just relax as you're carried up even higher. And as you're carried up even higher, you start to see that there's a clearing in this blue in the sky where it starts to get almost like the blue changes to this very light colored blue, and then it becomes sort of this luminescence that seems to appear through the blue. And the luminescence is interesting because it's not a continuous one-way luminescence. It seems to beam back and forth around and doesn't seem to stop beaming in different directions. So it's not a light that just shines like a column. It seems to splatter light way up to the left and way up to the right. And as you can rise up closer to this light, you can see it's almost like this huge crystal that's in the sky, this many-faceted crystal that actually takes all this wonderful light that's coming from someplace and makes this beautiful canopy above you. As you're being carried up by those orange, yellow, and red different crisscross ribbons that take you up way close to where this light keeps exploding into the sky. And it's fascinating that it's so clear as it comes out of that crystal. And you can watch the crystal, which seems to vibrate also, whether the light is coming out one side or whether the light's coming out the center or the light's coming out the bottom. The crystal keeps vibrating and rotating, going back on itself and going around. And as you float up next to that crystal within a certain distance, it looks like, you can actually see everything and watch everything and relax in front of all this as this huge show is continuing to expand. It just is beginning to be perceived. It's actually larger and larger and larger. It expands even further, like more and more people in the orchestra are there for you to actually see this wonderful musical light that's coming out. And you start to hear some kind of string music that goes with the light that actually is quite pleasing to hear as you turn your ear to the right or you turn your ear to the left. And you can bathe in this light and just take that in all around you, through your neck, through your shoulders, through your arms, through your hands, your fingers, directly under your sternum, into your chest, into your abdomen, into all your pelvic area, into your thighs and calves and feet. It's all there for you. And you can put a check mark on this distance on the map about where you've gone, that you definitely want to come back here. But for now, it's really interesting and cool to on your raft, it's on those colored ribbons, like a wonderful sled. It can take you down and around and down and around safely through all the different colors that were booming into the sky, through the blue, then down through all the white, then down through the atmospheres, and then finally safely letting you off by the sandy beach where the ocean seems to lap back and forth. And as it laps back and forth, you relax on the sand and you can hear those sounds of the beach, birds in the distance. And yes, it's so comfortable there. And as you look around, you notice that on the hill there's a tree And as that tree sort of rustles in the wind, a leaf starts to make its way down to the ground from one of the branches. And that's a good signal that it's time to, with your eyes closed, just rub your hands, get some friction. And then put your hands over your eyes. One hand on the right, one hand on the left, and just let it sit there. You can let it be 3 inches away, 6 inches away. You can be a foot away. Just enjoy. You can touch yourself or you can keep it at a distance. Try all. And what's fun is that you can let yourself stay here as long as you want. Just taking it in. Time gets to stop for a while. Just you and the energy. And then when you have time, you sort of rub your hands again, get a little more friction. It can be hot, it can be cold, and then put your hands over your chest bone. You can touch it, you can gently put it there, you can firmly, you can put your hands on top of each other, you can keep your hands at a distance. Try all. Some people will feel something, some people feel absolutely nothing, which is fine. You don't need to feel something to necessarily have it take its position and support you. Just take it in. Some people will feel something, like something twisting and turning, something moving ever so imperceptibly across their chest, through their lungs, moving. And this allows the heart to say, oh, I think I can take a break. And so the heart just drops about an inch and just says, oh, man, now I can just relax down a little bit. And then your shoulders can actually go along with the heart dropping. And then rub your hands and put your hands over your belly button, one hand on top of the other, or one hand next to each other, on your skin or a distance away, and just take that in. Let it flow back. Some people feel something is not necessary. Some people feel like this pulsating column that seems to be like a whole container, cylindrical, that's going straight into you and holding you up now.